Thank you for joining me to spend a little time in this about 25-minute Earth Hearth holistic meditation to mark the vernal equinox. It's designed to help you feel grounded and earthed so you can drop into seeking balance and equanimity. I'm taking inspiration from a traditional Buddhist meditation, the Upekkha Bhavana, but won't be following the formal stages, though I'll pop a link in the info where you can find it in full if you'd like to. For me, meditation is always an experiment. It's never the same, it's not always predictable. It's about building awareness of what is actually happening in my experience in a world that most of the rest of my time encourages me to be distracted from it. And in that vein, I would encourage you not to get too specific about what your experience might be. My guidance and suggestions are just that. Your experience is always valid, and I hope you will feel able to trust your intuition and give yourself permission to let this be the meditation you need. After all, this is the spring equinox, and you never know what might sprout or blossom for you today. So, to begin this guided equinox meditation, I'd recommend finding a space that feels safe, is relatively quiet, and where you're unlikely to be disturbed. You may like to decorate the space with some spring flowers, a candle, maybe light some incense, but that is optional, just like everything else I'll suggest today. You'll certainly benefit from choosing a position where you can feel comfortable and supported. Lying down is totally fine, and I'd suggest making use of cushions and blankets. So you could pause this recording if you need a little time to set that up. When you have settled, I invite you to take a moment dropping into the felt experience of being in your body. If it feels safe to do so, you may choose to close your eyes, or you might simply let your gaze rest softly in front of you, maybe on the image on the screen. Feel the weight of your body, perhaps starting with your feet, noticing the places where they come into contact with the floor or another surface. Notice places where your body feels most able to relax into being held by the earth. Where can you find a little space to let go? Do you notice a place where you can soften into meeting the earth just a little more fully? Melt into meeting this vast, huge planet that has been there so much longer than you or I, seen so much more, weathered so much more. You can sink back into the experience of trusting that earth, that constant grounding presence. The earth can and will and does hold so much for you from before you were even born and for the rest of your life, asking for nothing in return. Here, now, in this short time you've set aside for yourself, you can relax into that knowledge. And if it feels comfortable, from whatever sense of groundedness you've established, however subtle that may be, you might now bring some curiosity to your breath. Not trying to change or control it, but noticing the texture and rhythm, the inhalation and the exhalation. Where in your body do you feel your breath? Is there a rise and fall in your belly? Can you feel the ebb and flow in your chest? Does it feel possible to invite the breath in more deeply? How does it feel to spend a little time noticing this constant presence that we so often take for granted? How does it feel to receive the gift of fresh, oxygenated blood with each inhalation? How does it feel to receive the gift of release when you let go? And maybe you can ride on the wave of your next breath to travel a bit deeper into your heart space. What do you notice there? How does your heart feel? Are there any physical sensations of breath? The rhythm of your pulse, maybe? Are there feelings of expansiveness? Or maybe things feel a little tight today? Are there sensations of joy, sadness? everything is welcome on this journey into balance. All feelings and emotions, the full spectrum of human experience can be with us on this day of equal dark and light. And if the ride gets a little bumpy, you can come back to noticing your contact with solidity whenever you need to. The earth is still holding you through all the joy as well as any tears that may seek release. But if at any time you begin to notice feelings of overwhelm, or there are difficult thoughts or bodily sensations arising, please take care of yourself. Give yourself permission to end the meditation whenever you choose. It's always okay to say no. How does your heart feel right now? What is present for you in this moment? Do you notice any lightness in your heart today? Or are you more in touch with the dark? Is there a point of balance where you can acknowledge and honor both? Maybe today there is simply mystery. Perhaps there's not much going on, or maybe there's so much happening that you can't quite pin it down. Where do you find yourself in the dance between movement and stillness? What is actually going on for you today? How are you really doing? Bringing awareness to the voice of our true heart is an immensely powerful and courageous thing to do. When we know and can give ourselves permission for how we really feel, then we can begin to make choices. Choices to cultivate, choices to release, choices which empower us to come into a place of balance and stability in our lives. What is your heart asking you to witness? The fullness of this rich human experience is always challenging us to hold both pleasant and unpleasant feelings in our lives. And throughout our years, we will all experience times of love and of grief, hours of happiness and of sadness. There will be days of health and days of sickness. And we know this is true for all beings in the world. It's true for you, your friends, your family, people in your life you don't know that well, and people you find difficult or challenging. Even non-human beings whose experience of life is a little different to ours know the sensations of warmth and cold, pangs of hunger and the nourishment of being fed. We all know how it is to feel afraid or to feel safe. And there are many things in the world today that may cause feelings of fear or anxiety in us. It can be a challenging world over which we have so little control, little more than we have over the length of day and night. But we can always remind ourselves such experiences are universal, not personal. It is simply the way things are. Compassion can be a profoundly supportive place from which to meet this truth. And there is choice. What would you choose to bring awareness to? What would you choose to cultivate in your heart today? What would you choose to let go? And then there's always the opportunity to choose between activity and rest. At this time, we may be noticing life begin to grow and stir and swell as the natural world takes the step from the months of rest and gathering towards the months of action, fertility, busyness and creativity. We all have different levels of energy and stamina, but whatever the season, rest is ultimately non-negotiable if we're going to sustain all the activity in our often busy lives. We always need night as well as day. Stillness as well as dynamism. You are still breathing. The earth is still holding you. You are still rooted, connected, always to our majestic, beautiful planet as she spins gracefully through the seasons and gifts us with night and day. As we prepare to bring this meditative reflection to a close, you may wish to give quiet thanks to the earth for supporting you, to your heart for the rhythm of life in you, and to yourself for investing this time spent in cultivating equanimity and balance. If you feel ready, and you may not, you may choose to sit on in silence. Or you can gently bring your awareness back to your breathing body, to the space around you, to the vast world outside, so very full of life and joy and light, yet still setting the stage for grief, sadness, and the hours of darkness. Thank you for joining me. May you feel balanced, centered, and at ease in all your experiences of life.